What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catapaglia, sitting on the couch, trying to make some money investing in real estate. As always, uh, if you've been following along, I've been trying to find some opportunities to make some money on some fractional real estate investing platforms. The one I've done the most videos on lately is Lofty. I think there's some really interesting opportunities, and this is one I'm going to share with you tonight. Just obviously, I think it'll be clear as we go through this. I'm certainly not an expert on the platforms themselves. I've been investing in real estate for 20 years. I've been an agent most of that time as well, always worked with investors. And so I feel like I can give you a lot of insight on the way we should think about properties in general, some of the due diligence we can do, and whatnot. But not necessarily on all of the inner workings of these platforms. And so whenever I do notice I'm misunderstanding something, I'll try to do a correction video. I've definitely made a lot of mistakes along the way. But I think we're getting there, and I've already made a little bit of money just doing some experiments. And today I came across one. I was looking at this property. I was doing some due diligence, and I found it on Zillow and noticed it's pending. And so I thought, oh, that's weird, because it wasn't clear. It was that's always one of my first stops. I hadn't even read the notes yet in the governance voting, and then it turns out that they had done some votes. It was they received an offer. They voted on whether or not they're going to accept that offer. That's the last update. They voted to accept that offer. It was at 87,000, and when they did the vote, they gave them a little bit of math on what the this was basically their math here. They said, after closing costs and unpaid bills and commissions, we expect to get about 771,508. And with the 1,802 outstanding tokens, and you can always find that in the order book right here. You can also find it on the market tab. But so looks like your liquidation estimate is around $39.68. So I stole their math, making sure I'm doing it right. And then I was looking at the different documents that are out there. And so one of them, they have this document uploaded from it. It was generated 10/8, so about a week ago. It shows there's a number of expenses that are being shown on the settlement statement. But then it shows, due to seller 74,545. Now, one of the things that I don't know yet is if they pay all their bills on the settlement statement, because you notice there's a water and a sewer bill that's very large, at least by standards where I am. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I'd never see this on a closing statement unless, they just hadn't paid it in forever. But that number didn't match up with this. But in any case, let's say this is your proceeds. They actually paid all the bills out of there. That'd give you a liquidation estimate of $41 per token. So I don't think this number's right. So then I try to figure out, okay, well, what if I take this number and I subtract the expenses, the unpaid bills, the 850, that number there. I think that seems like, oh, well, that should be a pretty safe number, right? If we subtract that out, divide that number by the tokens, it still creates a token value of $36.63. I don't know if you noticed, but right now the estimated price is $31, so I can market buy at somewhere close to that. I don't know how much they'll let me get with fees, but I still, because it doesn't, this doesn't match this, I'm still a little skeptical. And so I wanted to really figure out, well, what is there, an even worse case scenario? And so I pulled up the operating reserve chart, and this was just uploaded like about a week ago. And so this chart is where this 8,500 number came from. And so you can see that it's sunk further. And so now the operating reserve has negative 11,000. And so then I just wanted to figure out, okay, what if I subtracted that 11,000 from the proceeds and then still divided it? And I'm still getting a positive number of $35.20. And so it looks to me that I can buy these tokens, and as long as with fees, I'm below $35.20, I'm going to make a profit as soon as this sale goes through, assuming that it does. It shows up as pending here. We we have a settlement statement that was put together last week. Let me see. Yeah, print date 10/8. Makes me feel pretty good about this. Now, if I was actually, someone who already owned tokens to this, I could be in that the the property specific Discord for it, and maybe I'd find out even a little bit more. I didn't want to go and ask questions on there because I don't want to necessarily tip my hand, right? Like share that, hey, I think there's this great opportunity here. But so I'm not going to go nuts. I'm going to see what I can buy here. Just like I've always done, I've been maybe 10 tokens, maybe $1,000 worth. I'm going to see even if I do it with fees and with the Visa, using a Visa and the market order. It's got to be the market order. Well, let's look at if anybody's got limit order sales. And nobody does. And okay, so they're expecting the sale to go through, but nobody's really paying attention to this, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why these are so, this market order is so cheap. So what happens if I buy 50 tokens? We're going to get a lot of slippage. No, this market price still stays at $31.16. That's really interesting to me. Now, I say, this math that I did, this was my worst case, right, is 35. That's if the sale goes through. It's also possible the sale doesn't go through. So let's look at this, okay? And it always subtracts out my rent. Okay, so 319. So let's stick this here. Because it's possible what would happen if the sale didn't go through. That could always happen. And then I'm in a situation where it's accumulates some more builds. So it's not as if this is a completely risk-free thing. But it looks like we're pretty close. We're not. You're never going to have zero risk, but I like this so far. So let's see. Um, is this 50 tokens? That seems like super cheap. Okay, so let's see. Equals 1722.92 plus 319, and that's just the rent balance that they were crediting back for me. So that's the dollars. That's my total checkout amount. Even though it shows this shows it net of the credit. And this is even putting it on my credit card, which is crazy. And so we're going to do that. Divided by 50. That doesn't make any sense. Equals that divided by 50. There we go. And so that says I'm paying $34.52 per token. So even at that, because I believe when they liquidate it, I don't think there's another fee. If there were another fee, if they did the 3%, I'm pretty sure that they don't, but let's see that times 1.03. Okay, then I'd actually be losing a few cents, 30 cents per token times 50. So, I mean, that would be a bad scenario, but I don't think that they do. And again, I don't necessarily believe this is the right estimate. I actually think it's this one. So, here, if I'm doing 50 and I times that, I'm really not making very much on this transaction, but that's after all fees, if this is right. And then if this is right, I'm going to make $2 times the 36, right? So, or $2 times the 50, so I make $100 on it. Cancel that. Cancel. So it seems like, and like I said, I don't believe this number is right. I think this is the most likely. Well, I don't know. All right, let's see. What if? See, the reason I don't have any available cash in this one, I should just keep money on hand for when stuff like this pops up. It takes a really long time for my bank to actually put money into the wallet, which is, I think, one of the real good use cases for having a credit card attached is when you do find something that you want to do right away. If I do less, is there lower price? No, because it's the same slippage. So 50. I think I just want to do it. I'm going to give that a try. So that total fee is what? Market lending fee. Okay, an operating reserve contribution. So if this gets paid in, that's interesting. I wonder. That's really strange to me because it's exactly 3% and it's the operating reserve is negative right now. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research and figure out how this works exactly. Because it doesn't seem to make sense to me to have to do that when there is no operating reserve. Um, it's $50 because it's a market order, and that's actually costing me about a dollar per token. So if there had been a limit order that was a dollar per token more, obviously that would have made sense. Platform fees, I'm always paying those. And this market lending fee. Oh no, this is that market lending fee. This is the one that is because it's a market order. So this is the one that's because I'm using a credit card, I believe. Let me close that and switch it to a limit order and look at these fees and see which one goes away. Where'd they go? Processing fee, platform fee, contribution. Oh, if I do that, oh, because if I do a limit order, it switches to my. What if I do a limit order with a Visa? There we go. Operating reserve processing fee. So it's that processing fee that goes into that. Anyway, we're not doing that. Now that we messed this all up, let's go back to market order using the Visa. That's 1722, and I want to just double check 1726. Yeah, I was going to pull the trigger on that. Oh, was that 1722? That is for 50 tokens. And so, I'm constantly just trying to experiment here. I'm using a pretty big number because it seems to me like this is a real opportunity. And I mean, it's really not. I wonder, could I get 100 tokens? And it doesn't really move the needle on that at all. Um, so this type of opportunity. I'm curious how often it comes up and how large of a. Could I get 500 tokens? 270 is the total, is the most. See, that's super interesting. But then when you do that, what does it do? Oh, it keeps it at that price, though. That's so interesting. Let's go back to the 50. I'm just going to stick with that. And I don't want to get too crazy. I think that makes perfect sense. So, preview order, let's make sure that's right. Preview order, 50 tokens on the Visa, USD. Price per token, 31.16. Oh, what just happened? Final price per token, 33.25. Why did that just jump up? What happened there? Okay, let me go back. Did I take too long? Oh, it did take too long in that change. Something just changed. Let's refresh this page. 3107. Did I change something? Let's look at that again. Buy 50 token. Market price. Using the Visa. Have the rent in there. Preview order. 50 tokens. Visa, USD. Price per token. Rent balance. Fees. Slippage. Oh, okay. So it's not telling me the slippage until we get to here. Okay, that's really good to know. So that's $2 per token. That ends up being way too much. Then that stops making sense. So is there slippage if we do just 10 tokens? It's 3116 preview order. See, it's calculating that slippage number, which just means as stuff gets sold out of out of there, it changes it. Okay, so this changes it to 34. 34. Plus that's still taking my rent out. So that's $33.50 a token. Or no, $35 a token even, right? If you do, it's 34.02, but there's really, let's see, this is the total, but I add the $3 and change because this is taking out my rent right here. Okay, let's just buy the 10. Because I don't want to lose money on the transaction, and we're getting the slippage there. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and submit that and see. It's too bad. It was a little too good to be true. If I was a little more confident in exactly what that final number was going to be, I might have pulled the trigger on the bigger amount. But it really wasn't clear, which is why I'm trying to do these experiments, right? Like maybe if all I can ever do is 10 tokens at a time, well, then this is really not that, not worth it to be doing these transactions. But if it was a situation where there was, where I could do it with 50 or 100 or 500 tokens, and this slippage wasn't that great, meaning I was going to be able to get them for close to the amount that I expected when I was first looking at that, it'd be much better. Can you click on that? I can't because I got my little screen in the way. All right, let's see. Let's move my face down. Sorry about that. I know it belongs right there, and it's jarring to see me move. And as usual, I have to refresh that. I don't think it showed up yet. And this is, it's going to let me go through the whole redemption process, and I'll be able to answer questions about, did I end up paying fees? You remember, whenever we buy a new property, we got to sign this agreement. Then I'm going to talk to the chat bot, and I'm going to say, can I be added to that Discord? So that's something that you should do each time. But so then I'll get a better idea of how good those estimates are. What because if it does end up a lot closer to that $36 and change, I still wouldn't have paid up. Maybe I could have paid up for that slippage if I was not using a credit card, and made some money. In which in the future I wouldn't normally be doing that. I should just have some extra USDC in here, which is the cryptocurrency that they use. I just have to store it in my wallet if I do that. And you don't have to worry about not getting a return on it because you could stake it while it's in here, although maybe I'd lose money on staking. I don't know. All of that's the sort of stuff that, like I said, not an expert on how the platforms work. I'm going to work on figuring that out. Hopefully I'm not making too many mistakes and leading you astray, although obviously I'm making some right. Like I didn't realize that slippage number wouldn't show up until later in the process. I thought when I put it in the order, if it didn't show it there, then there wasn't going to be. I didn't realize I had to actually go to the order first. In any case, until next time, I'm going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to. I just made another one. I remembered I didn't tell you. I mentioned staking a few times. I'm going to put a link to that staking video below. But also, I have links to where you can get a free token on Lofty if you're new to it and you haven't been there before. So, check that out. And also one for ground floor for some free money on there. Do your own due diligence on both platforms, obviously. But if you decide you're gonna move forward, if you use those links, you do get a little free money, which is nice. It's actually what got me to sign into this one for the very first time, and then I realized, I think there's some real opportunities to make money, and I was off for the races. So now, for real, until next time, you know the thing.